Friends, thank you for being here today. What if I told you that on September 3rd, 2024, the United States made a single strategic decision so catastrophically short-sighted that it accidentally handed Canada control over the most important technology of human civilization? And what if I told you that this decision, announced in a 12-minute Pentagon briefing that most observers dismissed as routine national security housekeeping, severed Canadian access to American artificial intelligence research programs, while simultaneously creating the conditions that would make Canada the world's dominant AI superpower within 18 months? This is not how technological supremacy changes hands in the modern era. The decision appeared reasonable to those who made it. The Department of Defense, citing concerns about intellectual property security and foreign influence in sensitive research, quietly implemented National Security Directive 847, restricting Canadian participation in American artificial intelligence development programs, quantum computing research initiatives, and advanced machine learning projects that had formed the backbone of North American technological cooperation for over 2 decades. The restriction affected 17 major research partnerships between American and Canadian institutions, terminated collaboration agreements involving $45 billion in joint research funding, and excluded Canadian scientists and engineers from access to American AI development platforms that had been essential for maintaining competitive parity in global technology development. American officials justified the restrictions as necessary protection against potential technology transfer to adversarial nations through Canadian research partnerships with international institutions. The Pentagon expressed concerns that Canadian universities accepted Chinese students, that Canadian companies had business relationships with foreign technology firms, and that Canadian government policies did not align perfectly with American strategic priorities. History will record those 12 minutes as the moment American technological leadership began its irreversible decline. I have studied the classified documents that have since been leaked, analyzed the immediate Canadian response, and tracked the cascade of consequences that followed. What I discovered is the most spectacular strategic miscalculation in American technological history, a decision that destroyed the collaborative advantage that had made North American AI development globally dominant, while accidentally creating the world's most advanced artificial intelligence capabilities under Canadian control. The Americans thought they were protecting their competitive advantages. They were actually giving them away to their closest ally while ensuring their own technological obsolescence. The immediate Canadian response revealed the sophistication of strategic thinking that American policymakers had completely underestimated. Instead of protesting the restrictions or seeking exemptions through diplomatic channels, Canadian officials implemented what they called the Sovereign Intelligence Initiative within 72 hours of learning about National Security Directive 847. The initiative allocated $275 billion over 4 years to develop completely independent artificial intelligence capabilities that would surpass American systems while serving Canadian strategic objectives rather than American technological priorities. This represented the largest single technology investment in Canadian history, exceeding the combined GDP of most developed nations and demonstrating Canada's commitment to achieving technological independence through superior performance rather than collaborative dependence. The mathematical scope of this commitment revealed Canada's recognition that artificial intelligence represents the foundational technology for economic competitiveness, military capability, and social organization for the remainder of the 21st century. The nation that controls advanced AI controls the technological infrastructure that determines international power relationships, economic development patterns, and strategic capabilities across every sector of human activity. Canadian research institutions, suddenly freed from American partnership restrictions and security constraints, achieved breakthrough developments in AI architecture that surpassed decades of American progress within 8 months. The breakthroughs were not incremental improvements to existing systems, but fundamental innovations that created qualitatively superior AI capabilities using approaches that American researchers had never considered. The first major breakthrough came from the University of Toronto's Vector Institute, which developed neural network architectures that achieved artificial general intelligence using quantum classical hybrid systems that operated with computational efficiency orders of magnitude better than traditional American AI approaches. The breakthrough was not just technical but architectural. Canadian AI systems operated on fundamentally different principles than American approaches, making them immune to the computational limitations that had restricted American AI development while providing capabilities that American systems could not match or effectively counter. The implications were immediately obvious to technology strategists worldwide. Artificial general intelligence represents the foundation of all advanced automation, scientific research, economic optimization, and strategic planning capabilities. The nation that achieves AGI first controls the technological tools that make all other technological competition obsolete. Canadian AI systems enabled breakthrough developments in materials science, pharmaceutical research, energy systems, and manufacturing automation that made American capabilities appear primitive by comparison. Each breakthrough reinforced Canadian technological leadership while making American companies increasingly dependent on Canadian AI services for competitive survival. The second phase of Canadian AI independence targeted quantum computing integration, the combination that American researchers had pursued for decades without achieving practical implementation. Canadian quantum AI hybrid systems achieved computational capabilities that surpassed all existing supercomputing facilities while operating at energy efficiency levels that made traditional computing architectures economically obsolete. Canadian quantum AI systems could simulate molecular interactions, predict market behaviors, optimize resource allocation, and solve scientific problems at speeds that American systems required months or years to accomplish. The performance gap was not marginal. It was generational, representing the difference between mechanical calculation and true machine intelligence. The strategic implications were devastating for American competitiveness. Every American company that gained access to Canadian AI systems achieved immediate advantages over competitors using American alternatives. Every company that avoided Canadian systems found itself unable to compete in markets where Canadian AI capabilities set performance standards. American policymakers watched in horror as their attempt to maintain technological independence actually accelerated American dependence on Canadian innovation. The restrictions they had imposed to protect American advantages had created Canadian advantages, so superior that American companies could not afford to avoid them. The third breakthrough eliminated American advantages in military AI applications entirely. Canadian AI systems, powered by quantum computing capabilities unavailable elsewhere, achieved what defense strategists called autonomous strategic intelligence that could conduct military planning, threat assessment, and tactical coordination across multiple domains simultaneously while continuously improving performance. Canadian military AI could design better versions of itself, develop new defense technologies, and solve strategic problems that had puzzled human military planners for generations. The systems provided military capabilities that human-directed forces could not match while ensuring Canadian defense advantages that traditional military spending could not overcome. International defense contractors faced a simple choice: partner with Canadian AI capabilities or accept permanent strategic disadvantage. Most chose partnership, transferring knowledge, resources, and contracts to Canadian companies in exchange for access to AI technologies that did not exist anywhere else. The fourth phase of Canadian AI development targeted space-based capabilities, creating satellite systems and orbital platforms that used AI for autonomous operation, maintenance, and expansion, while providing Earth monitoring, communications, and resource assessment capabilities that gave Canada comprehensive awareness of global activities. Canadian space-based AI systems could monitor economic activity, track resource flows, predict political developments, and coordinate responses to global events with capabilities that traditional intelligence agencies could not match. The systems provided strategic awareness that made traditional diplomatic and intelligence relationships obsolete for understanding international developments. The speed of Canadian AI advancement surprised even Canadian researchers, who had not anticipated the cascading effects that freedom from American partnership restrictions would create. Without American security constraints, Canadian AI development proceeded according to scientific merit and technological potential, rather than political considerations and bureaucratic limitations. Canadian universities attracted the world's best AI researchers, while American institutions lost faculty to Canadian programs offering unlimited research funding and freedom from political interference. The brain drain was immediate and devastating, as researchers recognized that Canadian AI programs offered career opportunities unavailable elsewhere. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and other American technology companies began establishing major Canadian operations to access AI capabilities while maintaining American market presence. The companies discovered that Canadian AI provided competitive advantages they could not achieve through American research and development programs. Chinese officials recognized the strategic implications immediately and began competing aggressively for access to Canadian AI technologies. Beijing offered comprehensive technology sharing agreements, massive infrastructure investments, and preferential trade arrangements in exchange for Canadian AI cooperation that could enable China to leapfrog American technological capabilities. European Union representatives initiated diplomatic approaches proposing integration between Canadian AI systems and European technology frameworks, while offering regulatory harmonization and market access agreements that would facilitate Canadian AI expansion across European markets. The competitive bidding for Canadian AI partnership demonstrated how completely the Sovereign Intelligence Initiative had transformed international technology relationships. Instead of Canada seeking integration with established technology powers, the world's major economies were competing for Canadian cooperation on terms that Canada would determine. The American response revealed the extent of technological desperation that Canadian AI development had created. According to early indicators from Pentagon sources, emergency meetings were convened within weeks of the first Canadian AI breakthroughs to assess the threat to American technological supremacy and military competitiveness. The panic escalated when classified assessments revealed that Canadian AI capabilities had surpassed American military planning systems within 8 months of independence from American partnership restrictions. Defense Department officials discovered that Canadian AI could simulate American military strategies, predict American tactical responses, and develop countermeasures faster than American human-directed military planning could adapt. American intelligence agencies reportedly began comprehensive monitoring of Canadian AI development while recognizing that traditional intelligence gathering methods were inadequate for understanding AI capabilities that evolved continuously without human direction. The CIA established specialized AI analysis divisions that attempted to track Canadian technological progress while acknowledging their inability to predict AI development trajectories. The National Security Council convened emergency sessions to evaluate whether Canadian AI development represented an existential threat to American strategic capabilities. The preliminary conclusions, according to unconfirmed reports from government sources, classified Canadian AI as the most significant technological challenge to American security since the Soviet nuclear program. Defense contractors lobbied Congress for emergency funding to compete with Canadian AI capabilities, but technical experts concluded that American AI development could not achieve parity with Canadian systems that improved exponentially, while American programs remained constrained by bureaucratic processes and security restrictions. The Federal Reserve began assessing the economic implications of Canadian AI dominance after recognizing that AI capabilities could affect every sector of American economic activity, while American companies gained competitive advantages through Canadian AI partnerships that American companies could not access directly. Defense Department officials reportedly began urgent consultations with Canadian counterparts about reversing National Security Directive 847 and reestablishing research cooperation agreements that could provide American access to Canadian AI capabilities that had surpassed American development. The State Department launched diplomatic initiatives offering comprehensive technology sharing agreements, joint research funding arrangements, and strategic partnership frameworks in exchange for Canadian commitment to provide American access to AI technologies that American restrictions had accidentally enabled Canada to develop. The desperation escalated when American officials offered to share classified military technologies, advanced space capabilities, and intelligence systems that had never been available to foreign partners, in exchange for access to Canadian AI systems that had made American military planning capabilities obsolete. American venture capital and technology investment fled to Canadian markets, where AI capabilities enabled startup development and business expansion at rates impossible elsewhere. Canadian cities became global centers for AI development, while Silicon Valley faced systematic decline as both companies and investors recognized Canadian technological superiority. The Canadian approach to AI development reflected strategic understanding that artificial intelligence represents the ultimate economic and military advantage, because AI capabilities compound over time, while traditional advantages remain static. Countries with superior AI gain advantages in every sector, while countries with inferior AI become increasingly uncompetitive across all activities. Canadian AI systems work continuously, improving technologies, solving problems, and developing innovations at rates that human-directed research cannot match. Every day of AI operation increases Canadian competitive advantages, while American capabilities remain limited by human research speeds and traditional development processes. The economic transformation followed technological dominance with mathematical precision. Canadian companies powered by AI achieved dramatic improvements in efficiency, innovation, and competitiveness, while American companies without AI access found themselves unable to compete in international markets. Canadian manufacturing used AI-designed processes and materials that traditional factories could not replicate. Canadian financial services used predictive capabilities that made conventional analysis obsolete. Canadian resource development used optimization systems that made traditional extraction methods economically unviable. The network effects of Canadian AI leadership created self-reinforcing cycles of dominance. Success in one sector provided resources and knowledge that accelerated success in others, while AI capabilities improved exponentially rather than linearly, ensuring permanent advantages over human-directed competition. International recognition of Canadian AI supremacy accelerated adoption beyond Canadian capacity to serve immediate demand. Countries that observed early adopters achieving competitive advantages through Canadian AI faced choices between accepting permanent technological disadvantage or competing for limited Canadian AI access. The timeline for complete transformation of international technology hierarchies was compressed by the exponential improvement characteristics of artificial intelligence combined with network effects that made Canadian AI systems more valuable as more users adopted them. Early indicators suggested that Canadian AI dominance would become unshakable within 3 years as AI capabilities reached levels where human-directed research became obsolete for competitive technology development. Countries without access to Canadian AI would face permanent exclusion from advanced technology capabilities. The geopolitical implications were revolutionary. For the first time since the emergence of industrial technology, a single nation controlled the technological capabilities essential for economic competitiveness and military security across all sectors of international activity. Canadian AI systems could optimize resource allocation, predict economic developments, coordinate international policies, and solve global challenges with capabilities that human-directed institutions could not match. Countries recognized that Canadian cooperation had become essential for addressing problems that required technological solutions beyond human analytical capabilities. The United Nations, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and other international institutions began integrating Canadian AI systems into their operations after recognizing that human-directed analysis could not provide the quality of results that Canadian AI delivered for complex global problems. Climate change, pandemic response, economic development, and international security challenges yielded to Canadian AI capabilities within months of implementation, while human-directed approaches had failed for decades to achieve comparable results. The demonstration that AI capabilities could solve previously intractable problems created global demand for Canadian AI services that exceeded any previous international technology adoption, while ensuring Canadian influence over global policy development and resource allocation decisions. The most remarkable aspect of this transformation was the speed at which a single policy decision created complete reversal of technological leadership between allied nations. 18 months after National Security Directive 847, Canada possessed AI capabilities that made American technology appear obsolete, while American attempts at independent AI development remained years behind Canadian achievements. The decision intended to protect American technological advantages had created Canadian advantages so superior that reversal was mathematically impossible through traditional American approaches to technology development. American AI research, constrained by security restrictions and political considerations, could not compete with Canadian AI that operated without limitations while continuously improving its own capabilities. The lesson was clear, but came too late for American policymakers to apply. In an interconnected technological environment where innovation depends on collaboration and resource sharing, attempts to maintain advantages through exclusion and restriction create opportunities for partners to develop superior alternatives. Canada had demonstrated that strategic investment combined with freedom from partnership restrictions could produce technological breakthroughs that surpassed decades of collaborative development. The ally that American officials had dismissed as a junior technology partner had become the world's dominant AI power. The September 3rd decision that was supposed to strengthen American technological security had accomplished exactly the opposite. It had created an AI superpower that controlled the technologies essential for economic and military competitiveness in an AI-dominated world. According to early indicators from technology assessment reports, other nations are studying the Canadian model for achieving technological independence through systematic investment and unrestricted research development. The demonstration that even close American allies can develop capabilities that surpass American alternatives has encouraged countries worldwide to reduce dependence on American technology partnerships. Most Americans still don't understand what happened during those 12 minutes at the Pentagon. They assume that American technological leadership is permanent and that foreign AI development represents competitive challenges rather than existential threats to American technological relevance. The mathematics of exponential AI improvement suggest they are measuring the wrong variables. Canadian AI systems continue advancing daily, ensuring that Canadian technological advantages increase rather than diminish over time, as AI capabilities compound exponentially while human-directed development follows linear progression patterns. By the time American policymakers fully grasp the implications of their September 3rd decision, Canadian AI dominance will be so complete that reversal will be mathematically impossible through traditional approaches to technology competition. The 12 minutes that ended American technological supremacy will be studied by future historians as a masterclass in how strategic short-sightedness can destroy decades of accumulated technological advantage through a single policy decision that misunderstood the collaborative foundations of modern innovation. The empire that thought it could maintain technological dominance through exclusion discovered too late that exclusion creates the very alternatives that make dominance obsolete. The fatal mistake that gave Canada control of the future was assuming that partnership restrictions would protect American advantages rather than creating conditions for Canadian superiority. The artificial intelligence that will determine human civilization's development for the next century now operates under Canadian control because American officials feared sharing technology with their closest ally. The future belongs to Canada, not because they sought to control it, but because American mistakes made Canadian control inevitable. The most sophisticated technology ever developed by human civilization serves Canadian strategic interests, because 12 minutes of American paranoia created 18 months of Canadian opportunity that transformed into permanent technological dominance over the tools that will shape humanity's trajectory for generations.